They work this time, but I'm turning them on a little early to give ourselves some troubleshooting time.
Maybe it just needs to warm up a tad.
How are you? Good, thank you.
Hi, Dwayne. I mean, Scott. Good, he stopped.
Right, Jim.
Been called worse today.
Many times. That was at home, huh? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like,
Hey, good news is sound works today.
hey, just a weekend.
It's like Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay, that's it. Nothing's busy on Tuesdays.
Saturday, Sunday is just.
Yeah. First. There we go.
Saw that on. Can you see it flying through?
That's what we need.
For some great news.
Yes, we have your.
Wasn't in there?
Must have been a good year.
It looks worse.
It does look bad
It
like.
looks worse.
I put on my good cowlick for the day.
Yeah, he just. Stick it in there. I'm sure there's others, because there must have been.
You don't want to take out somebody and say,
To turn to the
Well, yeah.
Oh, like I was a smart man.
what's fun with that, Luann? What's fun being careful, with being careful?
I did nothing. I just feel like it's sitting on the floor. That all- Have you been doing it at the front? The time will be. Brian.
Brian D. No, I just sent the back, like the lift order.
6 o'clock.
I have 6.
Yeah,
Whatever you want us to do.
Call the meeting to order at 6 PM. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a roll call for attendance. Susan Clark. Scott Tadowski is here. Luann Homa.
Here.
Ray Kerr.
Here.
Maggie Smith.
Here.
Carrie Fox.
Here.
Kevin Bertocchi.
Here.
And Mayor Bob Lang.
Here.
Our junior council person, Gavin Kilgore, is absent with cause. Borough Solicitor Eric D.
Here.
Borough Manager Dwight Botter.
Here.
Code Enforcement Officer Anthony Bruni.
Here.
And representing the Police Department, Lieutenant Mark Legowski.
Here.
We have no presentations on the agenda this evening, which brings us to our first citizens' comment section of the evening. I see a lot of new faces, so I'm just going to review a little bit of how the citizens' comment section works. Trenton Borough offers 2 citizens' comment sections. This one right now, before the meeting starts, this one is reserved for anything that is on the agenda this evening. If you need a copy of the agenda, they are on the table where you came in and signed in. But this first one is for anything that is on the agenda. It is open to residents, taxpayers of the borough. Once we get started, we ask that you please stand, state your name and address for public record. There is a 3-minute time limit. Again, this one's for anything on the agenda. If there's something that you wish to talk about that is not on the agenda, if you flip all the way to the very last page, the very last thing we do before we ask for a motion to adjourn is we open up the citizens' comment section again. Anything that we discussed tonight or anything that's on your mind that we have not talked about, so. Any questions before we do any of that? All right, citizens' comment section, anything on the agenda, you're gonna be last, not first. Cindy, I'm gonna start with you, and we're gonna snake all the way around the room.
Not now.
Mr. Bonner? I'll come to you now. Good?
It's a no anyway.
I think you two are actually a second row. Sir, no? All the way in the back, we'll go this way. Josh, Mr. James. All right. That shuts the first citizens' comment section off. Exceptions to open meeting laws, we've had no meeting since our last regularly scheduled meeting in July. The minutes for the 7/14/2026 meeting minutes have been posted and disseminated. Can I have a motion to approve the 7/14/2026 regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Ray on the first, Maggie on the second.
That was
All in-
Carrie.
Carrie.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carrie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously, 7-0. We have one communication, is a letter from a resident dated July 31st, 2026. Dear Trenton Borough, we are residents for over 40-plus years of the 300 block of West 11th Avenue. Our daughter came home today, parentheses out of town, and we drove through Trenton and down past Harvest Moon, past the parks and Splash Park. She was amazed at how Trenton now has a hometown feel. She grew up on West 11th and never felt any of this. Thank you, Trenton, for working on bringing the hometown feeling and safety back to Trenton. Signed, Andy and Patty Soroto. Very nice.
Good people. Positive.
Takes us to our committee and department reports. Mr. Mayor, we will start with you.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a quick summary, because now they print up 14 pages of all the calls. We had, through the county, 604 calls total. We had 342 incident calls between Breckenridge and Trenton. We had 67 crime investigations. We had 37 arrests doing them investigations. Traffic stops, we had 48. There was 18 non-traffic citations issued, 9 traffic citations issued, for a total of 27. And if anybody wants to, they break it down for EMS calls, for headache calls, how many calls you had to respond for headaches. It's in here. So next month, I'll try and get everyone copies of this so you can actually look through everything. But anybody's welcome to look through it.
Mayor Lang, if it would be easier, I can include them on the monthly reports.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. On the president's report. I don't have anything official. I was on vacation for the July meeting, so I apologize, but I was sitting on the Gulf Coast of Florida enjoying myself. Luann, I heard you did spectacular. I watched the videos. Anytime that you want to switch jobs, we can do it. Officially, my next Allegheny League of Municipalities Board of Directors meeting, I literally got an email about half an hour ago. It is scheduled for Thursday, September 10th. So once we have the September meeting, it'll actually be after that, so I won't be able to report on that until October. But that meeting is coming up here in about a month and a half. And then, there's not really been anything going on in the borough, right, Dwight?
It's been really quiet here.
A lot has been going on in the borough. Again, it goes without saying, publicly, there are some seats down here if you want to sit down. Publicly thanking Anthony for all of the work that he's been doing. Thanking the mayor, I know you've been out there. Googs, you personally, all of the police guys have been out there closing roads, doing all of that stuff. Brad, I know you've been there from the get-go. Josh, you've been there. Last but not least, Dwight, you have been 7 days, 20-hour days since that has happened. A lot of moving parts. I know we'll talk about it later, but just publicly, half a dozen people that are truly, truly, truly committed to the safety of the borough and everything that's been happening in the last 72 hours plus. So publicly, thank you all for everything that you're doing to handle this situation. So very appreciative. And I know the rest of council is as well. Again, I mentioned the ALOM. I know Maggie's going to talk about the concerts that are still have to happen. We've got a lot of stuff that are happening. That letter is awesome. I didn't know that letter was coming in, but that's awesome. I know we got a lot to talk about, so I will cut my report short. You're welcome. And we will move to Eric for the solicitor report.
Yes. So most recently, I've been assisting Mr. Bodoff with the issues associated with 411 Corbett Street, as well as any other matters that came up throughout the month in the borough.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I forgot to thank you, so thank you.
Thank you.
Googs, anything else from the police side of things?
Nothing to add.
Anthony, code officer report.
Yes, Dwight's going to talk more about the 411 Corbett building. I just want to give an update on our current demolitions. Border Street, 2 are down to the ground. 1 is awaiting its asbestos permit clearance. The Pearl Street demolition, that one is on the ground. The contractor is now capping utilities, and he's going to begin doing the grading that was going to be required, and rebuilding that sidewalk and making it safer corner there.
Awesome. Very good. Is that it? Perfect. Thank you very much. The engineer report, Cindy, you will be glad to know that it is linked there online for you.
Yay!
And also a reminder, when we're washing vehicles, commercial car washes, etc., wash your vehicle in a grassy or gravel area, or divert your water into the grass or gravel area if you're doing it at home. Mr. Manager, your report.
Yes, I have several reports, so a little more than that's up there. For our water system update, so our tank mixer and potassium permanganate move down to the pump house has finally been approved by DEP and is now online. The Hill Street issue that we've had, I'm happy to say that that project permit now has come in from Allegheny County. The project will be advertised for bids this week with the opening September 3rd, and work will begin shortly afterward. The street openings. We've recently had several unauthorized street openings in the last 3 weeks. The property owners have been directed to turn in the forms, drawings, and pay for the permits. If that is not done, the borough will complete the work and take all necessary legal actions to recover the cost, as we do with any other unauthorized ventures. And before we get to why I assume a lot of people are here, which is Corbett, which I have a timeline for that and some additional information, I did want to take a moment, same as you, Mr. President, to thank everybody. So over the past several years, Tarentum has faced several serious crises together, and I did want to take a moment to thank the borough staff, first responders, council, and mayor, as well as our solicitor, engineer, for consistently rising to the occasion and placing the protection of life and public safety first. I also wanted to thank the council and mayor for placing their trust in me as borough manager and empowering me to make critical decisions when circumstances require immediate action. You don't always have time to form a committee, and I appreciate the latitude Tarentum affords me to act. We should never minimize the disruption these emergencies cause, particularly for the residents who are displaced from their homes. At the same time, we should be exceptionally proud of how Tarentum responds when the need arises. Our employees, elected officials, professional partners, first responders, residents, businesses, and community organizations repeatedly come together to support one another and protect this community. The ability to act collectively during difficult moments really is one of Tarentum's greatest strengths. And with that, I'm going to get into 411 Corbett. There have been a lot of moving parts over the last couple of days. So to make this a little bit easier for everybody, what I did is I prepared a timeline with some photographs of exactly what happened, what we know, and what is still unknown. Mr. Bruni was with me through most of the weekend and most of this event into the evening, so if I am missing something or I'm misstating something, please step in. Again, I wanted to acknowledge the residents who remain displaced from their homes. We understand how disruptive and stressful this has been. The borough wants those residents to return as soon as possible, and as of 2 p.m. today, we did lift the evacuation order and they were able to return back to the Manos Gallery. As a local government, our first duty is to protect life and public safety. When a privately owned structure threatens public streets, sidewalks, or neighboring occupied building, the borough has a responsibility to act. We also have a responsibility to remove restrictions when the available engineering information shows they are no longer necessary. As of right now, which I'll explain a little bit more as we go down, our current status on some of the roads and the buildings is the surrounding roads have been reopened. We reopened those yesterday, which means that also is the Port Authority buses as well as the trains. The alley between 411 Corbett and Manos does remain barricaded and off limits until the wall is repaired. 411 Corbett Street itself, although it has been vacant for quite some time, is not approved for occupancy. The Manos Gallery, which is 320 East 5th, the evacuation was lifted again at 2 p.m. today. The residents may return home. We did notify the property owners, the surrounding property owners, and posted the building, as well as put out a public notice through our Savvy Citizen system. The rear wall opening does require some additional maintenance to cover that up, and there has been no determination made for a long-term repair versus a demolition, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. So as you can see here, this is just one of the photos of the damage to the building. Shortly after 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, August 5th, emergency personnel, many of whom are in this room, again, thank you for everything that you do and have done, responded to a report of a partial collapse at 411 Corbett Street. Police, fire, EMS, public works, emergency management, code enforcement, and the borough structural engineer responded. The damage included a substantial opening in the roof, failure of exterior masonry, damage to the rear wall, broken glass, and debris. Nearby streets and sidewalks were closed, transit service was rerouted, and the area was secured. No injuries were reported during the initial response. So again, you can see some damage here on the roof. At that point in time, when it got about 11:30 midnight at night, when we had to start making calls for public safety, we did not know the full extent of the damage or whether additional portions of the building could fall. Closing the area was the responsible public safety decision based on the information we had at the time from our structural engineer, emergency management, and code enforcement. The following day, a couple hours later, the borough structural engineer issued a written opinion documenting significant roof and masonry failures, raising concerns about concealed deterioration and the possibility of additional failures under normal environmental conditions, things like rain, wind, everyday life. Based on that opinion, the borough issued an emergency notice ordering and requiring 411 Corbett Street to remain vacant and secured, and the requiring property owner to obtain a licensed structural engineer and qualified contractors. The neighboring apartment at 320 East 5th, the Manos building, was evacuated as a precaution. 11 residents were affected. The property owner did retain an engineer, Patton Engineering, which inspected the property that afternoon for his very first assessment. Friday, August 7th, the property owner reported some delays in obtaining additional contractors and other engineers. The owner's engineer submitted an initial assessment, again, Mr. Patton, concluding the building did not present an imminent threat to the public right-of-way. However, that assessment did not include sufficient information to support that conclusion, and several questions and concerns raised by the borough's engineer went unanswered in the initial submission. The report also suggested that lightning may have caused the failure. The borough has not independently confirmed that theory, and the cause remains undetermined at this point. A full structural analysis will have to be given to the borough by the engineering firm from the property owners. Following the receipt of this initial information, the borough granted a good faith extension until Saturday at noon for the owner's engineers to provide additional supporting information on how they came to those conclusions. Fast forward to Saturday, we did receive further documentation from the engineer ahead of the noon deadline, but several items remain unanswered even in that. After conferring with the borough solicitor, thank you for answering all weekend, code enforcement, and the borough structural engineer, they were given 24 hours to produce a supplemental analysis explaining their position with details. The borough separately permitted limited contractor access to remove the glass on the road and board up the windows, which is what you see here. They boarded up the windows on the first floor, but that still left the rear of the building not taken care of, as well as the hole in the roof. Sunday, August 9th. So as we go through about every 12 to 24 hours, we've been in contact with the property owners, code enforcement, legal, and engineering multiple times every day throughout this entire process. The borough building code official, structural engineer, and solicitor reviewed the supplemental analysis submitted by the owner's engineer and determined that additional information was still needed at that point regarding temporary stabilization measures, protection of neighboring properties and public areas, the work sequence, and the conditions necessary to safely reduce the existing restrictions. The borough did notify the owners of those deficiencies. The owner's engineer then submitted a further supplemental report with additional recommendations and engineering detail for temporarily enclosing the rear wall. So an actual drawing of how the rear wall was to be enclosed. At that point, the borough's role was not to substitute our judgment for that of our engineers. Our role was to make sure the questions affecting public safety were clearly answered before we reopened streets or allowed residents to return, taking essentially a safety-first model. Monday, August 10th, after reviewing the additional photographs and the supplemental report, the borough's engineer issued a limited concurrence with the owner's engineer regarding temporary stabilization and management of the immediate hazards affecting the public right-of-way. Concurrence allowed the borough to reopen Corbett Street, East 4th, and East 5th after the remaining front glass was cleared and the necessary restrictions were established. The alleyway between 411 Corbett and the neighboring property, along with the affected portion of East 4th sidewalk, remained restricted, and the evacuation order for Manos also remained in effect. We did during this time, even before that, we did contact Red Cross prior to help establish some sort of resources for the individuals that were displaced. I know several people out in the community also offered support, including some in this room, so thank you for that. We did touch base with Red Cross yesterday to give them an update on what the status was of the evacuation order. That brings us to today. Code enforcement, myself, property owners, an engineer, insurance, and a few other folks met over there this morning. This was a separate structural engineer, so now this is 3, 2 from the property owners, and then the boroughs. That structural engineer informed us that basically even with this hole you see here in the back, that they believe that it was safe for the individuals to return into the Manos. Our engineer reviewed that information, and between the 3 engineers made the determination that yes, that it is safe for the individuals to return back to their apartments. And so we lifted the restriction based on that information at 2 p.m. today. However, the alleyway is still closed between here as falling bricks can come down. They still need to secure this back area, and then the sidewalks around the building are closed until further notice. There's some more information I'll get into in a little bit, but at the end of the day, safety again is first, and there is going to be a full structural engineering analysis required, which according to the 3 engineers is going to take about 6 to 8 weeks to come back. So that does not mean that the building can be occupied. It does not mean that it is up to code. It means that it is stable enough right now to not impact public safety according to the professionals. We posted the property again today, 2 p.m. We appreciate the patience and the cooperation of everybody, the neighboring businesses, especially the displaced residents and the public throughout the emergency. So in a nutshell, here's what we know. The surrounding roads have been reopened. The alley between 411 Corbett and the Manos remains barricaded and off limits until the rear wall is repaired. 411 remains vacant and is not approved for occupancy. The evacuation order for the Manos Gallery was lifted at 2 p.m. today, August 11th, and residents are permitted to return. The rear wall opening has not yet received borough engineering clearance. No final determination has been made regarding whether 411 Corbett can be repaired in the long term or must ultimately be demolished. The borough has not confirmed lightning as the cause of failure. And again, we have made every attempt to contact the Red Cross and work with the community and the displaced residents throughout this evacuation order. There are several next steps that need to happen. We need the contractor's name, information, insurance, everything that is going to be contracted for repairing the back wall. We need a start date. We need a completion schedule. We need the completion of the enclosure documented photograph put into the borough. We need installed protection of the alleyway. So right now, it is the borough who has barricaded off the alleyway as a temporary measure so that we could get folks back in there. But ultimately, it is going to be the property owner's responsibility to put up the barricades around the area that we will help enforce. And then finally, once all of that is done, we need engineering confirmation that the remaining off-site hazard has been corrected. Anything else on there? That is for the immediate things that need to happen. A long-term, as I mentioned several times, comprehensive structural evaluation is required before any determination is made on a long-term repair versus demolition or any type of occupancy. Well, this has been a difficult situation, especially for the residents who have been displaced. The building is privately owned, but the borough has a public responsibility when the condition threatens residents and public property. Our approach has been consistent throughout this: safety first, decisions based on professional engineering advice, and no restrictions maintained longer than necessary. We closed the area when the engineering information required it. We reopened the roads with the evidence supporting to do so, and today, with the sound engineering basis in hand, we lifted the evacuation order so the residents in the Manos Gallery can go home. There is a section later on for discussion on this building that we can do then, or council is welcome to ask questions now while we're talking about it, however you want to handle it. And the only other item that I have from my regular manager's report is that the 2025 annual audit is still ongoing and should wrap up shortly. Like every other year, once the audit has come back, we will put that information to public and to council. And all of the other monthly reports, like the League Link, the newsletter, county council, and the sheriff's cell information is available online.
So we do have this discussion towards the end. I'm kind of thinking that we get through all of this new business and circle back to this, so we can get all of this other business taken care of, because we do have an official item to continue this discussion. That being said, we're gonna move on to new business and get these things taken care of. First thing under new business, can I have a motion to pay the borough bills for the month of June 2026?
So moved.
Second.
Ray on the first, Carrie on the second. Thanks, Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0. Can I have a motion to authorize the EMS authority fee hearing notification to Tarentum residents?
So moved.
Second.
Luann on the first, Ray on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0. Next thing on the agenda is a discussion on requested contribution for the EMS authority.
I have information on that. As council will remember, last month, the new Ali-Kiski Emergency Services Authority sent a request to all of the three participating municipalities asking for some initial startup funding. To my knowledge, Brackenridge is contributing roughly $6,500. Harrison is going to be in the 20,000 range population size. And Tarentum can support 10 to 15,000, somewhere in the middle, if council so wishes to do so. This is to help get the organization off the ground, with the long-term funding come from the actual fee when it's implemented next year to help self-sustain EMS in the long term.
This is a contribution as a donation, not a,
Yeah, this is not a reoccurring donation, or reoccurring, this is a startup one-time deal, yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Well, then what I can do is, if everybody's in agreement with, do we have an amount, 10, 15, 12,000? I can add it to next month's agenda for official approval.
you want to split the difference and do 12.5? Or do we want to go all the way to the top?
As up to you, Council President.
I'm sorry?
Probably gonna avoid those off.
15.
I got all the way to 15. I can make a motion to, I can't make a motion. No,
We'll
I
add it to
don't need to
that.
make a motion, we'll just,
Next month's
Next
agenda.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah. 15 sound good?
Okay, then I will put it on next month's agenda, and as with any other agenda item, when it's officially up for vote, if there's discussion or negotiations on that, it can happen there.
okay. Thank you. There is, excuse me, demolition permit application. There's a form update. The way you're gonna open it.
So I've got 3 form updates. The demolition permit application, we have not updated since 1988 for commercial demolitions. There have been several changes in the law requiring certain things for commercial demolition, including for the county, such as asbestos. There has to be dust, air control items that have to be approved by the county, but then it needs to come to us as the borough for additional approval, things like safety, right? So depending on how big the demolition of a commercial item is, do you need a perimeter? Do you have to close things down? Do we have to mobilize police and fire departments? All of those things. So what we would like to do is simply update the commercial one to be in line with state and county requirements and some of the additional information that we need. There also, if they're close to the railroad, there has to be some permits from the railroad. Just make it nice and straightforward and simple for all the parties about what's expected and how the process works. So that one's pretty straightforward, mostly governed by state and county regulations. The next one is the handicap parking space application. It's been a few years since we have updated this. We're not changing any of the requirements or anything. It's simply changing the form to update it. We got rid of a section that specifically asked on what the specific individual disability is. We don't need to know that information. That should be confidential for health reasons. We just need to know if it has been approved by a physician for handicap placard. I broke it. And then the third one, which we have later in for an ordinance that we talked about previously, is putting together the street opening, the curb, and the sidewalk permit applications. Right now, we have 3 different applications and for permits for these things, and they often overlap. So residents and staff, frankly, were having some issues and getting confused on things like curbs, curb cut for driveway. The curbs often impact the street themselves, and our ordinances in separate sections require a curb permit and/or a street opening permit. So when you take out some of the curbs, sometimes it damages the streets. And so instead of having all this confusing multi-permits and multi-different ordinances, putting them together, making one simple, clear process and one permit for the residents as well as for the staff, with a simple check of, are you doing a curb cut for a vehicle? Are you doing a sidewalk and curb? Or are you doing a street open for like an excavation for like a water or sewer line? Keeping it consistent with the ordinances we updated, making sure that the things for PA1 call, which are required by state law, are also included on here, simplifying the road closure process and providing a space for the technical drawings that are needed for things like a driveway. So those are the 3 forms that we have. And then there's maybe about 4 other forms that the borough has out of our, 25, Anthony, that still need to be updated. So we're going through them methodically to make sure that they're all up to date with current ordinances and laws. My hope is that about every other year that we review all of the forms and permits, just to make sure that if there are any changes in the ordinances or state law, that everything is always up to date.
All right, let's hit them one by one. The demolition permit, 1988, I was just a baby.
I'm happy to hear that.
I was 13. Can I have a motion to approve the demolition permit application?
So moved. Second.
Susan on the first, Carrie on the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0. Can I have a motion to approve the handicap parking application?
So moved. Second.
Susan on the first, Maggie on the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously 7-0. And finally, can I have a motion to approve the street opening, curb, and sidewalk permit application?
So moved. Second.
Susan and Carrie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0. The next 2 motions, we've been talking quite a bit about electric contract and doing all of that kind of stuff. I've been talking with the IBEW. Dwight has been talking with the IBEW. We are this close to the finish line. We were hoping to get it officially approved today, but like any contract negotiation, there's always a last minute kind of monkey wrench that gets put in there. Still 100% completely confident that we're gonna get it done, but this motion is just to table the 5-year contract between IBEW, Local 126, and Tarentum Borough effective 10/1/2026.
So moved.
Second.
Ray and Carrie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion to table passes unanimously 7-0. And then the other piece of that, can I have a motion to table the supplemental electric duties contract contingent on the IBEW foreman selection and approval?
So moved.
Second.
Ray and Maggie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Again, that motion to table passes. I'm sorry?
Can I make a comment?
Yep.
So just to be clear, why we recommended to table this was to preserve council's authority. So there's a section in the contract, because it was taken from private sector contract, that had language in about successor agreements, essentially binding future council's decision that an arbitrator could decide if you were going to continue to have electric, what the rates and things are gonna be. So generally, Pennsylvania law is skeptical of that kind of delegation for a municipal employer. The authority ultimately lies with council and through the voters of, who they put in here to decide what future wages, benefits, and services that the municipality is going to provide. So we caught that last minute. Once that has been addressed, then everything should be fine. And we hopefully can bring the electric lineman position back in-house for the first time in over a decade, giving the control of one of the critical pieces of our electric system back to the borough.
Well said.
Yeah, I'll shut up now.
No, you're good.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I'll take the over. The next one is pretty short and sweet. Abundant Joy Fellowship is looking to utilize the amphitheater. The estimated attendance, you'll see there in the notice, you get 150 and 200 people. Can I have a motion to authorize the amphitheater approval and road closure on August 21st, 2026 from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for Abundant Joy Fellowship?
So moved.
Second.
Carrie and Maggie, I'm sorry,
That's fine.
ladies first. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0. Same type of motion, the next one, they're gonna have a pop-up summer concert from the rec board. Looking to do same type of closure, et cetera, different date. Can I have a motion to approve a road closure and pop-up summer concert on August 20th, 2026, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., sponsored by the Tarentum Recreation Board?
So moved.
Second.
Maggie and Luann, all in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, Luann. You get voted.
That's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0. The next motion talks about the Environmental Advisory Council. You can kind of read through the motion, talking about planting 8 trees at the marina parking lot. In the note, you will see 6 trees would replace missing trees that we used to have. 2 additional trees planted along the parking lot perimeter. Pretty cut and dry. Any questions or comments that you want to talk about?
I know Mr. Bonner's here, but I don't want to miss some of the important stuff. So they would be native species, appropriate for the location, and based on availability.
Correct.
Okay.
Any questions?
Scott, is that, EMS would know, is the marina still used as an LZ for life flight, or that won't interfere with anything that's being planted down there, correct?
It shouldn't, no, because if they're going to use it for the, it would be the parking lot, not the, and then you might have vehicles in there. Because of the blockhouse, I don't know that there's enough space. And we're
A
replacing.
lot of times we don't use it. We'll head towards the hospital and use the landing zone up
Yeah,
there.
because I can't remember the last time they actually had a helicopter.
I can,
land
it's
there.
been a long time.
That
And
was me.
it was at night.
Oh, that was you?
That was me.
And as you were flying away, you said, there needs to be more trees down there.
General practice, we try to head towards the hospital so that if something happens with the helicopter, we can at least make it to a hospital.
Thank you.
Good question, Bob.
That's a question.
There's no other questions or comments. Can I have a motion to authorize the Environmental Advisory Council to coordinate with the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy for the planting of 8 trees at the Marina parking lot?
So moved.
Second.
Ray on the first, Susan on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0. Another Environmental Advisory Council coordinating interested property owners for additional street plantings along West 7th. Again, you will see the note there, the program will be provided at no cost to the borough, while participating property owners, the WPC will prepare the sidewalk openings, replace soil, plant trees, etc. on West 7th.
The only comment I have on this one, we did apply for a multimodal grant. We should know within the next couple of months if we got it. If it's possible to wait, if we do receive the good news and we got it, great. Then we can coordinate from the get-go, making sure that when they redo things, that it's built on purpose. If we don't get it, I don't see any reason why we couldn't move forward with this anyway, and then if we get it in the future, work around it. Reasonable?
Yep, should be able to do that.
Do we have the interested property owners up there?
No, that would be one of the responsibilities
Okay.
we would have is to canvass them to determine their willingness.
Are these trees gonna be planted along the sidewalk or actually at people's property?
On the sidewalk, much similar to the 5 that are already there.
So isn't the sidewalk ours?
And kind of the one like Corbett, yeah, we would
Yeah.
have to, once all of the coordination is done, there'd have to be an actual plan.
Right.
And then the plan would come in front of council to vote on, so locations, types, property owners. So basically, they're doing the footwork for us and going through, which is further reason for us to coordinate for a multimodal grant, that if we get it, we can do it all in one master plan from the get-go.
Thanks.
No, I want to thank the EAC. I am one person, and there's a lot of plans going on, a lot responsible for, so I absolutely appreciate the help in planning, canvassing, anything that they can do.
Excellent. Can I have a motion to authorize the Environmental Advisory Council to coordinate with the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy and interested property owners for additional street plantings along West 7th Avenue?
Second.
Wait, was that you on the first one? Yeah.
And Maggie.
And Maggie on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0.
And then, so for the next one, kind of in a similar vein, the EAC and Borough, if council so inclined, to create a formal program for memorial trees and benches at the park, possibly any other locations. We've had a bit of interest besides the tree at the band shell. Specifically, we've had a couple people ask for the marina and a few other places, and we don't have a formal process to either say yay, nay, revisit it, how would that look, who is gonna take care of it, what type of trees are gonna be planted, do we even want to allow that? And so, what we're asking at this point is for council to authorize borough management and EAC to have that conversation and see what that would look like, and then we can come back with some sort of formal recommendation and plan.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Questions? Nope. All right. Could I have a motion? Oh, wait, no, that was just a discussion. I apologize.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll come back with a more hashed out plan probably in a few months,
Okay.
assuming I come back from Finland.
We know, you're just gonna leave your ticket there instead.
I know people.
Oh, you know people in Finland?
No, but I'll find somebody.
We'll help.
I'll find somebody. Next one is the adopt a written demolition decision for the 910, 912 Corbett Street demo project. The note, Eric, you're killing me here with this crazy Latin, I guess it is. This is a de minimis? Yes. This is a de minimis action memorializing council's prior approval following the public
Oh, you
hearing.
think that was the solicitor?
Is that you?
Yeah.
A lot of big words in here, wasn't there?
The de minimis is important because we
I don't
added,
write the agenda, Scott.
He
But
just
I
loves
figured
your role.
that was some type of crazy, but you would
White
knew,
knows Latin.
We,
Obviously.
we added this after the 6 PM deadline. So under the Pennsylvania Right to Know and Sunshine Law, you cannot add major items that require votes, money, things like that. You can add items that are de minimis, so minor in nature. They're not affecting, they don't require major votes, you're not expending any money. This was a meeting and hearing that council had already held, already had the decision made. Eric was just formalizing the letter so that it can be sent out for the stuff. So council essentially already made the decision. So this is a minor addition so that we can have it on the record that it was approved, that when it goes to the property owner,
Starts the
everything's-
clock ticking on any appeal period
Yeah.
for the property owner.
Questions? Can I have a motion to adopt the written demolition decision for the 910 to 912 Corbett Street?
So moved.
Second.
Maggie and Ray, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0. Next one is a discussion on acquiring the 210 Lock Street property for demolition.
So between this property for the de minimis letter and the other ones that we just demoed, Tarentum Borough is up to 70 properties now that we have acquired and demolished through, since 2019, through various means, either purchasing them outright, some, I believe, were done through demolition hearings, others were acquired through vacant property programs, or vacant property program was entered after we demolished the building. This is another one that does need demolished. It's not in as bad shape as some of the other properties that we have on here, but this one has a dual purpose. This is the one right next to Eureka Fire Station. The owners are willing to negotiate up to a price to sell it so that we may acquire and demolish it for any future fire department plans or needs that the borough may have. We also then don't have to worry about going through and holding a demolition hearing for this or trying to get the property through other legal means. And I will also note that Allegheny County, as of a couple weeks ago, paused the vacant property program until further notice. So it has taken away one of the other avenues that we have used to help with blight. Certainly up to council if you would like to pursue this, but we do have an opportunity to negotiate with these folks right now. Doesn't mean it's gonna be 35,000. It could be lower. Can set a limit. We can do nothing. We can hold a separate, one-off with them.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not a very big piece of property. So has this been discussed amongst the other fire departments? I mean, it's not a very big piece of property.
What do you mean? Could you be a little more specific?
Well, looking at the property on Google Maps, it's not a very large piece of property. So if this is being purchased for the intent of a new fire station,
We had preliminary discussions amongst this,
it's been a while.
year and a half, 2 years ago, between fire department here, 3 fire departments, and a small number of council. We had also originally talked to some engineers and architects about the possibility. So we looked at both that location, so tearing down Eureka and taking this piece of property and making a new unified fire station. We also looked at the property over by Summit, because the borough owns 2 lots over there. We own 2 lots next to Summit. And the feasibility of tearing down Summit and acquiring that, because it's a bigger stretch of land over there. There are problems with both of them. So if we do anything over on Summit, first issue is it's a state road there. Second issue is the land, it slants, and so there would be a lot of money to stabilize, to do everything if we were gonna do something there. Over here, we don't have that issue, But no matter over here, we're also partially in a flood zone. So is part of the other towns. Highlands is not an option at all because it's completely landlocked. And we don't have many other places in the municipality without invoking eminent domain that we could merge and combine the fire departments to build something new. There is no issue with looking at it further in analysis and tabling it in my mind, other than the property owners have approached and said, hey, we're ready to offload this.
Didn't these property owners offer to donate this at first?
This is not the same resident, this is not the same lot.
Excuse me, the way,
It's not?
does the borough own the vacant property next to that the Bridges Construction use?
No,
Own that
there's.
Vacant lot?
There's multiple lots there. So there's the lot where the house is itself. There's a lot that there's a grass strip there now. And then there's 2 other lots where Bridges got through the vacant property program, which they've turned into. Now, the property owner, the discussion to possibly, have the borough purchase it, the other property owners where that vacant grass strip is at, they are the ones who have indicated that they may be willing to donate that vacant
Oh,
strip
just the strip.
to the borough, correct. So no matter what we do here for any of this, there's a lot of other planning in the long term that has to go on. I would say that the only thing to possibly consider this for now, the added benefit, is at some point that's gonna have to come down. And whether we do it now or we wait until it's in enough disrepair in 2 to 3 years from now that we have to seize it and do it then, or we have to condemn it and do it then. Possible advantages of waiting is we may be able to get a grant through the county's Act 152 program to wait. But that also assumes that that grant program is gonna be there in 3 years.
Well, isn't the vacant property program only on hold till October 5th?
As far as we know, but we don't know if they're gonna reopen it or if they're gonna change any other requirements.
And if this fire station would go there, what would you do with the street in between?
The recommendation would be to close that little alleyway, so you only have Eureka, and you have this house, and then you have the Bridges property. And so essentially taking, I don't have a sheet in front of me, but I'm gonna do my best teacher here.
You'll stop at the apartment.
So essentially, what we would be doing is turning it into a big L, right? So you'd have this road here that would be closed. This is the old Eureka station there, so you would be able to do and make a big L-shaped fire building for pull-through of modern fire trucks, right? Instead of backing in and doing all the other one, and then administrative offices / bunks if we choose to have them after fire department review and things like that, where the smaller section is where the Eureka house is. That was the initial design. Now, again, this would need done by architects and engineers, and there's a lot of planning, just like we've done with anything else. And as we notably mentioned, which is how we got here before, cost is always a factor, whether it's the Corbett building, the park, the water system, anything else. Part of the major issue besides the street and the elevation over at Summit, the elevation is the problem. It would take a significant amount of money to make all of that flat enough for trucks, because then you've got an issue. We'd have to essentially make a ramp from the back alleyway to go up, or we'd have to have things come in off of Freeport.
Like they do now?
Like they do now. But that also requires a bunch of state permits and approvals. And it wouldn't be a pull-through, so it would only be a drive-in or back out. But there are,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, there's plenty of options, and again, that's why this is a discussion. This doesn't have to be done certainly now. It is an option to discuss it with the resident, the owner of the property.
If we delay that, if council decides to delay that, could be a lost opportunity. Somebody else could buy that property.
Or Bridges.
Bridges might take it.
You could, but, there's other considerations and factors there too, right? So they could buy it, they might not. The borough, after discussing with fire departments and architects, may decide that, you know what, it's worth the money to go over somewhere else. There might be architectural permitting geotech reasons that we can't do it anywhere we want. So we're doing the tanks down at the water plant, and we have to take geotech, like boring samples, because we're not exactly sure what's under there. When you're putting that much weight on from a building and the fire trucks, you need to be sure of what's under there. And then we still don't escape the flood zone problem for a lot of places in Tarentum, essentially below the tracks.
I just think I mean, just my opinion, I always stick up for West Trenton, but I just think that a fire station on West Trenton would improve that area like majorly. There's so many properties down there that need demolished. And we're talking about this place, which, my opinion, it don't look that bad from the outside. There's buildings, I got a house beside me that's been there since the flood that hasn't been demolished. So that's my concern. That's only my concern. Most of the residents in Tarentum live above the tracks, not below the tracks. So I guess there's a lot of logistics to look at. But just
Yeah,
something to throw out there. I don't know if I'm in favor of throwing, I don't know how much money they're gonna want. I'm just not in favor of throwing out taxpayers' money on something that's a what if.
Yeah.
And I maybe I'm wrong. I would never go against our fire departments by no means, but that's just my opinion.
Mr. James, I
Yeah,
can
very
probably,
quick comment, Scott Dwight.
Yeah.
To address Carrie's concerns, some of the advantages, and we did discuss things, Carrie, over the second ward, was we had the advantage of a parking lot there already, the old borough building. The lot in question, it is adjacent to the bridges, that Bridges currently occupies. Eureka has been in negotiation with, and he's open to negating what he has done already for future expansion for a fire station. Eureka is bartering our EMS station with Bridges because it adjoins the Tarena. So there's a lot of things that have been in play, Carrie, to make this decision the best suitable, the best possible. The most land expansion for any type of capital improvement exists in the second ward because of the land that we already have there. That's how we come up with that decision. Whether the fire station sits on the old borough parking lot and the new lots become a parking lot or vice versa, size-wise, that footprint fits. And with the advantage of being able to barter the EMS station, and with the advantage of having ongoing talks with Bridges that Eureka has been doing, we're just trying to prepare for the future. So there has been a lot of back behind the scenes work.
So let's discuss with everybody else, the other two fire stations.
Absolutely,
All of this?
absolutely.
we
You
had,
can ask.
we've had several meetings, like, again, it's been a while, but when we first started talking about the possibilities for fire department consolidations, when we were with Eureka, Summit, Highlands, a lot of these things were brought up, discussed, including the locations. But in full transparency, we never got final, like, engineering, architect designs, any of that other stuff, because there's still a lot of logistics and things and issues that have to come first. We also tabled some of this in the discussions because EMS was imminently collapsing. And so we stopped a lot of this to go work on the EMS authority because that was an immediate solution. Fire still remains a priority and an issue. No secret that they need more funding, that the buildings are old, but this also doesn't need to be rushed. It could just simply be a discussion with them and see what they're willing to even negotiate and do. We'd also have to look at and see what the property is worth. Just because they say they want X, the county's property value might have it at Y, and it might be substantially different, like any type of negotiation. And as always, it finally rests with council, right? So, I've talked enough.
Yeah, I
So
just think
Eric,
we're putting the cart before the horse.
can we manipulate that motion, or do we have to table it to not authorize the purchase, but authorize
Discussion.
the negotiation of,
Yeah, I mean, we can talk with the property owners, Dwight and I, and then we would have to bring it back before council.
Right.
So we're not able to bind you from that standpoint, meaning the borough. So if you're fine with us, Dwight or myself, discussing it and just see where it's at.
And I would say that that also goes in hand discussion with the future of fire service. I mean, I can make an argument for buying it just to demolish it, but there are other properties that are in worse condition that we realistically could purchase prior to that and demolish those. If you can get two birds for one stone, because there's some sort of consensus and for the future of fire service, but that's not gonna be a quick thing. It took us 2 years to get to this point for EMS. And there was, I mean, that was a majority of my time for a year and a half with legal consultants, engineering, EMS staff. We had representatives from 3 municipalities that met multiple times a month. If we're going to move forward with some sort of future of fire service, a same type of model would need to happen, that we would have to have a working group, we would have to have engineers, we would have to have legal, we got the study from the state a couple months ago, and they said the same thing that they've said for the last 30 years. You need to merge, you need to do all of these other things. We know in the big picture what needs to happen, but the devil's in the details of the department size, the equipment. We need to, even right now, looking for and authorizing engine and vehicle replacements are hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, and they're on back order for 4, 5, 6 years. Like, those decisions need to be made as well, if we can. That all needs to be looked at for fire service. So this is by no means an easy thing.
No, and the reason I'm asking all these questions too is because, we want to retain our firemen, we don't want to lose them.
Oh, I
So
agree.
we want everybody, in my opinion, everybody in agreeance, this is a major step.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't, a little stumbling block, this is a major step.
This is a major step, but we have to make the major step so that we can actually have a more effective fire department. We
I
don't need
understand.
3 fire departments. We need to be able to get along and provide more conducively for our community.
Right, no one's
And we
disputing
have-
that.
Right, and we have now 2 out of the 3 that are on board with that, whereas we didn't have that before. We're no longer in the, hey, I want to be on my own. We now have 2 of the 3 that are right on board, like, hey, we need to be moving forward.
The other question I have, is there any back taxes owed on this property?
We'd have to do all of our due diligence, so not just back
So
taxes.
we don't know.
Not only back
There
taxes.
isn't?
No, they pay them.
Well, we'd have
They
to,
still have to look back, but.
we'd have to certify it, and not just taxes, utilities.
Right.
We'd have to look at utilities too.
He still maintains the property when he
So there's no hope of getting this under the vacant property program anyway.
No, not right now,
Taxes.
not right now.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I don't see any problem discussing it with the owners, but not, then you guys gotta bring it back to us.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm gonna table, we're at the discussion piece right now. I'm gonna table the motion to authorize. We don't need to vote on that. I'm just
yeah, we can just give you guys a
decision
permission.
to table that
Yeah.
entire motion.
That's fine.
This will still allow you to have the discussion with him.
Correct,
as
correct,
far as-
correct.
And then bring it back.
Right, and then we'll need to pick back up now that EMS has been authorized for the authority. We will need to pick back up with the fire
With the fire.
meetings, including not just the future of fire service, but the codification update. So our fire ordinance is about a paragraph long right now. It is not consistent with modern standards like we talked about
Right.
in previous meetings.
Right.
That those things need to be outlined, do we require firefighter 1? Do
Yes.
we do these other items? So on and so forth. And I know that I've had several discussions with some of the fire department leadership over what needs to be in those ordinances. But that has also been 9 months to a year since we've had those discussions, 9 months to a year, fire department folks?
Yeah.
Longer? Yeah, since, at least since EMS authority. Okay.
No, it's a good discussion. The next one, that brings us down, we tabled this one. Discussion on park camera replacements.
We have 6 cameras in the park that are now out, so these are current cameras that we have. They've been out for a couple months now. They started going one at a time. Now we're up to 6. So we are getting quotes to replace those. Once we get the quotes, I will bring them to council and see if we want to replace them. A note on that, the park camera system has been here for over 15 years.
Yes.
They were cable that we had buried under the park. So we would either have to dig that up, put new cable in, or fiber optic, or they make line of sight now essentially, which is, a laser that shoots, that we would put on the poles and some other stuff. Our recommendation would be line of sight, because that way if there's an issue in the future, we don't have to dig things up. So we will bring all of that cost to council whenever we get it.
So we have 6 cameras that are not working. Do we have any that are,
Which one?
we don't want to know that. Pick your poison.
That's right.
No, that's good. Eric, I'm gonna ask your legal advice. Can I go out of order to get this motion out of the way and come back
Sure.
to the discussion?
Yes.
Dwight already talked about ordinance 2608 about the curbs and sidewalks and all of that kind of stuff. Before I go through this, is there any questions or comments before I ask for a motion?
The only other comment that I have, that this is probably long overdue, so it just makes it clear, it puts it all in one place. Right now, our curb, sidewalk, and street opening are in 4 different places in the ordinance. It is very confusing for everybody involved. The borough has handled it differently depending on who's been sitting in my chair, depending on who's been the public works, code enforcement, or even council. So this would finally unify everything, make it all consistent, one single form, it all in one place. And then going forward, once it's adopted in September, everything should be easy to understand.
Now, Dwight, on the street opening, we have the ordinance on the curb to curb.
Correct.
Okay, that all stays the same?
Yes.
None of that, the other ordinances aren't touched at all? Okay.
So, and then even the old permit that we had, the old permit, even though we had the curb to curb ordinance that we've adopted since, the permit did not reference the ordinance. So the ordinance was in effect, but it wasn't clear on the permit. And so updating the permit earlier
We're gonna-
includes all of those
Okay.
things so that folks know what is expected of them, but they also know where to check to find the full text so that they can double check, they can look at the technical specifications so that if they want to go out and measure, that they are welcome to do that, or realistically, their contractors is usually who does that.
Now, getting off on the same subject, a little bit off base here. Okay, if somebody does open a street and they close it and they leave, do we have any power to bring them back into?
If they get a permit, yes. So part of the reason that we're supposed to have bonds and the permit itself has a section for the borough engineer. So the borough engineer looks at all these, or he's supposed to, and he determines the restoration specifications, including the timeline. So we have some streets that are cement, we have others that have a flexible base because they're more modern
Yes.
asphalt. So the engineer takes a look at that, determines what the actual specs look like for when he puts back. He comes out, he inspects it. He can give 60, 90 days. There are some places that they will give leeway for, the gas company, for example. If they do 6 or 7 places in town in, say, April, and they're gonna come back in June and do them all at once. There are times that the engineer does allow that, but that has to be clearly laid out. And if it doesn't happen, that's why we have the bond, so that we can take the money from the bond and the borough can pay for the restoration. Our bigger problem, besides the confusing language in this, is we have people who are illegally opening streets without getting the permits and without getting the bonds. And so then the borough is left restoring the street and chasing them on the back end with Eric through legal means to recover the cost. So making sure that when these things happen, that the permits are clearly visible, that if something is going on that we are not aware of, that there's an immediate stop work order issued by one of the staff that are here, or if it's on the weekend, that the police could even ask and say, hey, do you have a permit for this? And they should be able to produce a permit.
Okay, thank you.
It's long overdue.
Yeah.
Would agree. Any other comments?
Cleaning up our 2,400 ordinances one at a time.
You good, Mike?
That was way back before my time. Can I have a motion to advertise ordinance 26-08 curbs and sidewalks amendment, an ordinance of the Borough of Trenton, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending chapter 216 streets and sidewalks to clarify responsibility for curb and sidewalk work, distinguish vehicular curb cuts from ordinary curb repair, establish permit, construction,
Sorry, I moved it.
inspection, notice, and cost recovery procedures, clarify the application of street opening permits, and provide for severability, repealer, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Ready on the first, Kevin on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 7-0. All right, now we can circle back to the discussion on 411 Corbett Street. We have anything specifically we want to discuss on that? I mean, I think this. That was good. And that is as thorough as thorough.
It's a great job, the way Yes.
And that lays it out from, yeah, cradle to grave, pretty good. I don't think there's anybody in the room that's not, aware.
No, I think the biggest thing that the borough's gonna have to work with the property owners on is making sure that the rear wall opening is repaired as soon as possible, and that within 6 to 8 weeks, that we get that full engineering assessment. Once we have that full engineering assessment, we are in a better position to determine our next steps, if any. There are several ways that this could go. If everything is satisfactorily repaired and the full engineering assessment comes back that the building is stable and there's no obvious code violations, then it's a private property and there's really nothing for us to do.
And that's important, like, that is private property.
Yes.
We don't own that.
Correct.
So it's no different than your house, somebody else's house, and us going in and saying, it really is no different, because we
Right.
do not own that.
If there are issues and/or code violations, then our appropriate means to deal with that is through code enforcement and legal, working with the property owners to address it as quickly as we can. So our immediate concern was public safety for both the residents in the Manos and the roads and the sidewalks. And at this point, our professionals are satisfied with multiple opinions that those are safe right now, which is where we're at. And then we will reach back out over the next couple days and keep an eye on the repair of the back wall. Once we get the contractor information, once we work with the owners, and go from there. Other than that, I really don't have anything else to say. I'm certainly open to questions from council. I can answer what I can. Anthony might have some opinions or thoughts here as well. Mr. Mayor?
I know, does the engineers know what kind of interior damage has been done other than the exterior?
Yes.
Have they
So
been in there to?
they were in there. So some of the interior floors have collapsed, which is why part of their concern was making sure there were some lateral support on the roof so that the facade did not come off, essentially. And they were satisfied with the additional engineering assessments for the folks that were inside and outside, that is not the case. So the good news is it's a solid old building. There's a lot of old structural steel in there that looks like it's still pretty well intact, but the inside is in pretty rough shape.
So it won't be habitable? I
No.
mean,
Not in its
so
current condition.
Basically, eventually it's gonna have to be demolished, right? I mean,
Not
the
necessarily.
floors collapsed in there.
They could gut the entire interior and essentially make it like an atrium, or if you've ever been to, I don't know if you've been to the Roxy down in McKees Rocks, it's like a music stage that they have it's pretty tall. There are things that they could do, as long as it's not violating any codes and it's safe, that's for the private owner to handle. Now, if it turns out that there are additional violations or it's not safe after the full assessment, then yes, it is still possible that the full assessment comes back or the insurance company comes in and says, demolish it. I mean, it could be, I heard somebody earlier make a car analogy. When you have a car accident, sometimes when you could repair it, but the insurance company's gonna total it, and it makes more sense to total it versus stuff. So really, that full engineering assessment is gonna be key for the private owners, but us as the government. But right now, what we know is, according to the professionals, it is safe to go into the Manos and the surrounding area, but it is not safe to occupy or go into that building unless you are a professional engineer or have permission. Mr. Bernie, anything, or does that pretty much cover it?
I agree, and the general consensus from the engineers is it's not irreparable, but it would be a pretty significant amount of money and resources to bring it up to that standard. They're going to have to remove a lot of the debris that has been damaged, flooring, and then rebuild that skeleton. So it's pretty extensive, and
So the insurance company's gonna have to make.
it will be something that the insurance company will weigh in on.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, at the end of the day, that's a property owner decision. Whether or not they.
Right, if, from the borough's standpoint, if they make that building whole and safe and structurally sound, and they maintain it, and there aren't, as Dwight said, code violations, it can stand there for the next 100 years, as long as it is intact and maintained. Something would have to be done as far as its use, because it would also fall under our vacant property registration ordinance. You would have to be doing something with the building. It would have to have a purpose. It couldn't just sit there, but along with that, it has to be maintained. And that's the borough's position on that.
No, that's good. Anything down this end? Nope.
Is that little piece you're referring to, alley, is that owned by somebody?
It's you mean the little slice in between there?
Nella's Pizza used to sit.
I don't know.
I know you don't know Nella's Pizza.
The alleyway,
It was good.
It was also around.
Do you mean the alley in between the two buildings or the alley on the other side of?
In between the two buildings, isn't that owned by somebody?
Well, it would have to be one of the two property owners, but I'm not sure which one
It's
it
not
is.
even considered an alley, it's more like a walkway.
Yeah, I assume
It's not real.
that, I can confirm, but I assume that it's gotta be attached to one of the
I
two,
just
because
was
we don't
curious
own
if it was
it.
owned by an individual or if it was owned by one of them.
Well, the Manis has been using it.
It's not even.
There's an addition.
Maybe they bought it.
411 Corbett has an addition.
That's
a-
jutting out into
A
it.
little
Oh, that's
outbuilding
funny.
that's attached, that's actually on the alleyway there, so it's possible that that does belong to the Corbett Street building.
It could also be a joint use too, because of where it's shared. So with that addition jutting out,
From the Opera House.
the fence in the front is from the Manos, not from 411.
Yes.
That covers that whole thing there. And then the Manos has their dumpster up against this side. So,
Yeah, because it used to be a piece of property. That's
Yes,
why I was
yeah.
asking. I just was curious, so.
they fit a building in that small space?
Yeah.
Oh, it was little,
It was little, it was a pizza shop.
but it
Two
was the
people get in there and
best.
a pizza oven, that's about it.
It
Okay,
was good.
Oh, yeah. Before your time.
the more you know.
I was gonna say. Like, just a quick Google map, it doesn't even show there being an alleyway there, just a quick.
And then one last thing that I have about this. So, this was made just for this council meeting. This is all public knowledge at this point. I can put this out and just publish it so that everybody can see it and get a timeline, or I can leave it alone and take it offline. So that's totally up to council.
I think we publish.
Yes.
Say we publish, let everybody know.
I think it should be out there.
You did a lot of work.
Because again, it literally walks through from the day that it happened to
Right.
6
it's-
o'clock tonight.
If we're gonna do that, then what I will do is these other two places that are red, that once and if we lift these restrictions, I will green light them. So the 411 Corbett being vacant and not approved for occupancy will stay red for a long time. However, once that once the rear wall is boarded up, then we can update this and,
Make it like a yellow or.
right, because right now with that alleyway being boarded up, the residents there cannot get into their dumpster right now. So the concern from the engineer that we share, until that is boarded up, you could still have bricks and things that fall off the back there and hit people. We don't want that, so we're gonna keep it barricaded, which means unfortunately, they can't get to their dumpster right now.
Is there another place to put that dumpster?
That would be up to the property owner.
The little alleyway belong to the Corbett Street building. Because it goes right up to their building
According to
right
the
there.
county's drawing.
Okay,
Again, thank you, and everybody else that's been involved from beginning to end. Do we have any other questions, comments, anything else from council about 411 Corbett Street? I will get to the citizens' comment part, I promise.
and Miss Cindy, if you have specific questions, I'm happy to talk to you after what's publicly available.
Okay.
We didn't get to that part. We still got committee reports, and I want to get everybody out here before we shut the electric off. All right. All right, committee reports, Mr. Pataki, Avian Cog.
Yes, not a whole lot to talk about. There is no August meeting, but there was a discussion with several municipalities that everybody is having the same problems with the e-bikes and the scooters. And I know right now things are really crazy, so I think maybe down within the next few months after we get through some of this craziness, maybe we could start having a discussion on that also. And I know not right away, but maybe in a couple months.
Well, we might get lucky with the weather turning, and it won't be as popular.
I'm not so sure. Yeah, I mean,
We had an-
They could get winter trips.
Because, I mean,
But what used to be.
right straight at you.
they come down the wrong way street, they
Yeah.
don't stop at stop signs, they do everything they're not supposed to.
I see more, what used to be.
Some of these kids should have
probably
helmets on.
12, 13, what used to be an 11, 12, 13-year-old issue is now
25, 30,
There's
25,
32.
35, 45, 55, like
Yeah,
that.
the
There's
guy
an
went by
incident
yesterday.
in
It's an
Springdale,
everybody
Springdale
issue.
Township where a kid actually ran into a parked car.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to go after the borough.
Yeah.
So, something we should maybe look at down the road, not right now. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Kerr, Business Advisory Committee.
Nothing this month.
Mr. Carr, can I just add, there are 3 new businesses in town that have received occupancy permits recently.
Okay.
2 young ladies from one of the businesses I can see here tonight, they're probably gonna talk about theirs. But in addition, the People Credit Union has gotten their certificate of occupancy.
They have an open house.
Fifth Avenue, as well as the car wash at Wood Street and Second Avenue. He's open for business.
Thank you.
Speaking of occupancies, I forgot to mention this earlier. So our new BSNA computer system, it's easy for us to track all of our various permits. In the last month and a half, there have been over 100 permits that have either been applied for, reviewed, or issued, right? So that is mostly done by 2 people, in addition to everything else that is going on and the work that is being done. So I just wanted to send a thank you out to that. And that it's easier for us to get reports at this point on actual numbers to council about what is being done.
That's great.
Well, it is.
There's a but in there.
The intent of businesses is great.
Well, it's not just like some of these, the occupancies aren't just for businesses. Sometimes it's, there's a new owner for a house, a new renter coming in. But a lot of these are not just a one-off. So there's a lot of times that we get an application that Anthony has to go out, there might be one or two small things missing, like, you don't have enough smoke detectors and you don't have another stuff, and so we can't grant the occupancy there. There has to be a follow-up a week or two later. We gotta go back out, we gotta get the photographs. Did you do this before we can issue the occupancy? So it's not like a stamp them and go and done. There is a lot of repeated work that goes into there from the front office, from either Anthony, myself. If it's an electrical permit, there's a lot of back and forth usually between the electric department. There's a lot that goes into just the permits, and it's just a minor thing, but I am happy to report that we can better track all of this through our new BSNA system so that we can give more consistent reports to council, but also so that we don't drop the ball, that when we have new business owners and residents come in saying, hey, where are we at with this, that if Anthony is on vacation or dealing with a falling in building, that I can look it up and I can answer that, or one of our other staff members can do that. Okay.
Thanks, Anthony and Ray. Kevin, back to you, finance and administration.
Anything you need to know about it can be found online. There are links. We've been here an hour and 20 minutes already. People want to talk.
I forgive you tonight.
Maggie, Parks and Rec.
All right, I'll buzz through this.
Take all the time you need.
August 13th, the Shiners Band will have a concert. Oh, geez. August 20th is a pop-up concert featuring American Pie. August 27th is the Lenny Collini Family Pack. Is that the last concert for the thing?
Yes.
Okay. And then all concerts start at 7. Snack Shack opens at 6. Other dates to remember, the Boo Festival, October 10th from 1 to 4. The next Trenum Business Crawl is October 23rd, 4 to 7. And then the Trenum Brackenridge Christmas Parade will be on November 21st, starting at 1 p.m. And just another note, not a rec board activity, but I think the next night market is August 13th.
Yes.
From 5 to 8. And just a quick reminder that Highlands is going to go back to school the 26th. Just be mindful. Don't be flying down the streets in the morning. Watch for kids. So that's about it.
If you haven't seen the new park signs, they are installed. They look great. Thank you
Oh,
again
yeah.
to the rec board and to Public Works for getting them up. They are a very nice addition.
I love that they're double-sided.
Yeah, they just look great. It just like brightened the place up.
Yes.
Love that they're double-sided.
One other thing I forgot to tell Maggie was our 13th edition of China Magazine's being worked on. We're always looking for advertisers because the advertisement is what pays for the magazine. Even if it's $125 business ad, those add up to help cover the cost of the magazine so we can continue to keep this going. So if anybody knows anybody, or if you have a story, anything, we're always looking for and open to suggestions.
Did you get my story?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Property Health and Zoning, Carrie.
I think we talked a lot about property health and zoning tonight.
I agree.
I'm okay.
The only thing that I just wanted to, Mr. Brew and I mentioned, there's the new the credit union's been there, but they've remodeled.
Changed
I
their
sent
name.
everybody the invitation. You're all invited August 27th, 3 to 5. And they're at 209 East 5th Avenue.
You said the 27th?
27th from 3 to 5. And they're asking us all if we'd like to be there.
Anything else, Carrie?
That's all.
Public Safety, Susan.
We have two fire reports. First one is Summit Hose, a total of 22 calls for July incidents, broken down 3 fire calls, 2 hazardous situations, 1 undefined incident, 1 medical, and 15 non-emergencies. And we have a nice little pie chart to go with that. Eureka's numbers for July, we had 25 fire incidents representing 63 personnel hours. Mutual aid responses were into Lower Borough, New Kent, Arnold, Harrison Township, Eastier, Fraser, and those are services other than Brackenridge and Fawn. EMS calls 220, representing 614 hours, and company training hours of 24. Community outreach, the Trenton Brackenridge USA 250, along with the parade, and Brackenridge 125. CPR class, in-station, Trenton Borough Council Meeting Park, and the Farmers Market. And a year-to-date for the calls, 1443. And we are increasing substantially on our Tri-City standbys for New Canaan. We are up to 161 year-to-date. EMS Authority is moving along just fine. The steps are falling into place. Look for flyers to be coming out for the fee service hearing, which will be done in September. That's all.
Thank you. It's home of Public Works.
Well, the big order's on, it's online, but like, as usual, I'll just give it a look, because we haven't been here long enough. The guys do a great job, I mean, they really do. They're on top of everything, and they get called out weird hours of the night, and they're on it. They don't complain, they just do their jobs, and we're lucky to have them all.
I forgot to include Brad.
I said Public Works, and you didn't listen to me. So Public Works for helping out with the collapse.
Total team effort.
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
I done.
Utilities, Mr. Kerr.
Redevelopment.
Oh, excuse me.
It's okay, nothing at this time.
There we go. Now it's your turn.
We had that planned out already. Ray, utilities.
On the electric side, there was one bad meter, had to be replaced. Pole inspections conducted on East Street, Bakerstown Road. Tree trimming on Constitution. New meter was connected on Coons Drive. And that's about it on the electric side. Well, this is a tough one, coordination with West Penn Power.
It's a big job.
Okay, water, we both have the water plant and the distribution. No water breaks. Okay, they moved the noise readers. Water turn on, turn off. There's 5 of them listed there. And going over to the water plant, some preventive maintenance was done. Dwight already talked about moving the pump down to the water intake, which is good. And I'll just cut it short because of the time. And Mr. Bonner, I do not have a moment this month because how busy everything was. So that's all I have.
How are the noise readers working?
The noise readers are working well, and our new pressure meters are starting to come online a little at a time. And so we are slowly but surely building ourselves a makeshift leak detection system. We got a leak right there. Look at that.
Where's that at?
East 9.
Okay.
It's a minor one. So anything over 40 is considered a major. So anything under 22 doesn't read as a leak, and this is 25. So it's a minor. But part of the point of having these noise loggers is so we can figure out where all the minor leaks are. So we have so many lines to replace that just taking a shot in the dark really is not a good strategy for our money. And so the plan is, let's say we go back and we look at this over a year and we've got 5 small leaks from let's say, commercial to Porter on East Ninth. And then we look over here and we've only got one small leak on West Ninth. Well, that tells me that we should probably replace this section first, right? So it's a way for us to help figure out which lines to prioritize, in addition to the actual break history if there has been breaks on that area. The pressure meters that we are installing too, that are coming online, will start to be able, we've broken them up into sections. So essentially, everything will be in a square or a rectangle. And when we lose a lot of pressure, that's gonna help us figure out that that area might have a leak. So right now, it can take us a couple of hours to figure out if there's a leak. So we rely on something coming out of the ground, residents calling us, all of those other things, and we'll continue to do that. But sometimes we can't tell because it's underground, it's draining into a sewer, there's some other issue, and we have to call in leak detection, we have to spend all this money, we've gotta wait, sometimes up to 2 days. Having a little bit of a system to help us narrow down even where to call in the leak detection people at would help save us a lot of time and money. And so we are slowly moving towards these systems. A full-on leak detection system, if we were to buy it outright, would be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so what we're trying to do, much like we did with our outage map, is build something in-house that's only gonna cost us a couple hundred to a couple of dollars per day. So our live outage map that we were able to build and repurpose is for $1.15 a month. And this isn't an active outage, this was our, a meter that was pulled illegally. And so there are other ways to repurpose technology or to do things to save the taxpayers money while also advancing some of our utilities systems. So we're trying to work smarter with what resources and staff that we have without asking for additional increases from the taxpayers.
Good stuff.
Thank you for your work on that.
We don't have a junior council report because he is not here this evening, which, as promised, now 34 minutes ago, we will have a second citizens comment section, again, open to all residents and taxpayers of the borough. This is open to anything that we discussed this evening or anything that is on your mind. Same policy as the first time. We ask that you please stand and state your name and address for public record. As a reminder, we do have a 3-minute time limit just to kind of keep things moving. And the only other thing I will remind people of, because we have some new faces, it's a comment section. It's not designed to be a Q&A where we go back and forth, but you all have 3 minutes to kind of talk about what you want to talk about. So we'll snake around the room again. We will start here and just kind of go around. So the floor is yours.
Kimberly, this is Cindy. We have opened up a community center at 135 East 6th. We're going to offer art, dance, music, just a nice, safe hangout for all ages. Tai Chi, yoga, art.
What's the name? Yeah, what's the name?
Vibration.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yes.
What was the address again? I'm sorry.
135
It's up by.
East 6th.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, awesome.
So we're looking for it.
Website?
We're on Facebook right now, but yeah, we're building everything, so it's going great. We're loving the town.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
I
Age
know I
group?
met you already.
Yes.
All ages.
This one.
Now, are you bringing in instructors?
Yes, we have a Tai Chi instructor. Cindy also teaches.
I teach line dance.
Yeah, so, and then we're gonna offer some live music nights. Right now, we have a singles mingle that we're starting, so people are starting to show up to that. And the kids' art classes are starting in August, so, yeah, we're getting going. It's gonna be fun. And I have a full-blown crystal store there, and we do, holistic health as well, so,
Welcome to town.
thank you. Yay, Kim.
Cindy.
If you haven't already, I would suggest downloading the Savvy Citizen app. That's
Okay.
where we put the power outage, the water breaks, and any other type of notifications. That's our official communications channel.
Okay,
So it's free.
all right.
It's on my phone. I haven't logged into it yet.
Oh, do so.
Perfect.
Cindy,
No, I'm not going to say anything because I was very pleased with his report tonight. And I think he told us everything that we need to know. If we have any questions, it's a shame because if you listen to that, you're not going to have any questions. I mean, it was excellent. It was excellent. You answered everything I think we need to ask about that problem right now.
Thank you.
Mr. Barnes?
No, sir.
Jim? no?
Really? Next.
Sorry, okay.
No?
Cynthia Kramer, 581 East Ninth. All I want to
You're
say
in the corner.
is, yes, I'm in the corner in the dunce position. So I'll live up to my reputation in that regard. Thank you to everybody who worked on all the problems and issues. But I want to point out, I want to ask sort of, is there a priority list on how Savvy Citizen goes out? I live in ancient technology on purpose.
What is that?
And it's a secret. I get
13-year-old
Savvy
son was
Citizen notices sometimes. On major things, sometimes I don't. And I don't know if there's somebody, like, is there a hierarchy of who decides when things go on, say, on Savvy Citizen? I can't see what it says. All I know is there's an alert. And I have no way to find out what that is without going and booting an ancient computer and so on. So I'm just curious how that works.
I would have to look at your stuff offline. So the way that Savvy Citizens works, there isn't a priority notice depending on what it is. So if I put out a water, electric, or whatever, my only options are normal, urgent, or scheduled. So if it is urgent in any capacity, it goes out like right now. So they don't send anything before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. To try to make sure that residents have like some peace of mind. I can override that if I put out an urgent alert. So it will override the so when something happens that there's a power outage at 2 in the morning and an alert comes out, that's me at 2 in the morning overriding this stuff. What I do know from my own interactions with Savvy Citizen in the application, there are features in the app itself that you can set of what you get notified on. So you can
get everything, or
right. You can decide the community. You can decide that you only get notices about public safety. You can get notices only about community events. You can get notices. So there's all of these things. What the app looks like on a more traditional phone, I don't know, but I am willing to sit with you and look at it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I get all the concert notifications, which I already know about. I've not gotten follow-ups to things where there's an urgency and then I don't get the follow-up saying it's okay. So it seems weird to me. And just to follow up, is there a backup to you just so that if you...
Like when he goes to
I
Finland?
sometimes feel like, you might have finally fallen asleep after a gazillion years. And is there somebody who takes responsibility after you?
So my significant other is watching this meeting right now, and if she were able to tell you that, no, I don't sleep because I do get, if it's 2 in the morning and the town requires me to be there, I am there. But I am also a systems-oriented person. I recognize that I am human, things could happen. We do, in fact, have a backup. So Michelle, she's in our front office for utilities. So before I was here, she was the person that used to do what we had for Code Red. She is, in fact, our backup, and she knows that when things happen, so like when I was out a couple of weeks ago out of state, and there was some things that had to be for restricted parking and stuff like that, she's the one that sent them out. We have templates that are ready to go that she uses. That way the messaging and the voice is consistent regardless if it's me, her, somebody else. On top of that, there are 4 sergeants that all have access to Savvy Citizen. And the point of that was if they are responding to an active incident, like a SWAT incident, and they're on scene, and for whatever reason, I'm not available and they can't get a hold of me, that they can put out the alert to the community that there needs to either be a lockdown or whatever else it is, a perimeter put around so that those alerts can go out for safety. So when we first instituted this system after Chief McIntyre was tragically lost, we made specifically sure that the police officers had access to this, and that it was cross-community. So we still have, so me, the Brackenridge manager, and the Harrison manager, we all actually have cross-authorization for each other's towns. So if the Tarentum police officers who are serving Brackenridge start here and they cross into Brackenridge, instead of wasting time for me calling the Brackenridge manager or whoever, and we know an active incident's going on, we can notify the Brackenridge community because we're already aware of the incident. It works the other way around, and sometimes if there's a multi-community incident, like a storm that we had in April, that Harrison was busy coordinating and responding with their personnel, and they asked me if I could put out an emergency closure for Freeport for them and Brackenridge and us. So we have done our best to have multiple layers of people involved in this and pathways, and we continue to utilize it heavily. But I am the primary administrator for Tarentum.
Thank you. Communication is key to so much, and I appreciate that, and I also appreciate not being dragged off because I went over.
So if you look at the thing that's up there today, so there is a notification for a regular council meeting, there's a notification on Saturday, August 15th for utility bill reminders.
Right.
Like, for me personally, I don't have those set up to me, because my wife pays the bill, so I don't even need to know that. But I don't have that coming into my phone. I have other things set up, and then even when he went on the first page, all of the things that we're kind of logged in with, now there's a whole bunch of municipalities that have it. So like I follow, my parents live in Indiana Township. They have it, so I follow theirs, follow Brackenridge, follow Harrison. So you get some, but
I can also make it location-based too. So if there's an incident specifically within a certain section of town, I can make a circle around that area, and sometimes I do. So if it's like a localized power outage, you may not get that because it's only affecting 4 people here. Now, if it's potential for system-wide, then I usually just push it out system-wide. And then there are people that maybe they have relatives and friends and families who don't have Savvy Citizens, so sometimes we push it out system-wide anyway so that they can let them know. But I can look at yours specifically. My instinct tells me that it's a setting on the app that you have with yours, but we can look at it.
Well, that leak looks like it's near my house, so we should.
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask that address. It's right below me.
It looks so close to my house.
no, you two are actually your own row. Sir, all the way in the back. The young lady sitting next to him. Josh. Mr. James, last but not least. All right. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, again, a long meeting, but Cindy, to echo your thoughts, I think a lot was discussed, a lot of information was clarified. It's just, myself included, we see something, we're talking constantly and going back and forth, and the amount of clarification, the transparency, the communication that you just mentioned, it is key to all of it, and he's behind it, so, again, thank you, sir.
And getting that out for everybody to see.
Because there's a lot of misinformation on social
Yes,
media.
I mean,
about-
I'm just me and my phone's ringing off the hook. What are they gonna do? Is it gonna fall down? Is it gonna this? Now I can say, go online.
Go online, huh, Cindy? Go online. How easy that is.
Oh, God, do I hate to even say that.
But it's important, and it,
Yes.
Yes, the borough does its best to put out timely but accurate information. So we won't go out and put out things, if it's speculation, until I have something that confirms either from an engineer, from a police officer, from code enforcement, from the fire department, from electric, whatever it is. We wait until it's verified before we send out information, and it usually goes out first on Savvy Citizen. And if it's important enough, then I will usually make a separate thing on the website, whether it's a public notice or a page, or we notify our good friends at the media.
And then they share.
Yeah.
and the message comes out when the message is accurate, timely, full of information. Social media is awesome, but it's also very dangerous because you see a little
Yes.
bit of everything. Okay. Any questions or comments before I ask for a motion to adjourn at 7:46? Can I have a motion to adjourn at 7:46?
So moved.
Second.
Me, give it to me.
Luann,
It's my turn.
all in favor?
That's what I thought.
Opposed?